Welcome to class, everyone. If you're not here with us today, we're going to be doing three different things. This short video presentation will describe them more clearly, hopefully, than just following along in Canvas or just looking through the PowerPoint. So the first thing, here is the agenda for today. You can see that we're going to begin a new learning log and finish up unit number 1 and introduce something called the notebook. So for your first entry in learning log number 2, we're using an article that deals with storytelling. It's entitled Personal Literacy and Academic Learning by Marlena Stafford. You'll find that article in section 3 of Pressbook, and it's the first one. When you read the article, she's going to say several interesting things in the introduction, and so those are where I'd like you to copy your 2 quotes. One of the things she talks about is using a timeline as to map ideas or thoughts, and the reason why I'm having you do this little timeline yourself is for this class, there's a lot of times you can think about in your past experience of moments that have triggered why you believe what you do about certain social issues. And so to practice that, you're going to think of one of 3 topics for question number 2 here. Think of yourself as a reader, as a writer, or as a learner. And you're going to create some sort of a timeline. Again, yours can just be a bullet list of trigger points or trigger certain significant moments in your life that helped you to become either a better writer, a more passionate reader, or a scholar, if you will. So pick one of those and then complete the learning log activity. All right, so your open letter is due today in Turnitin. There is a place in Turnitin where you can upload it. I also want you to upload your final open letter to your English 2010 page. It is 5 of the 60 points on the rubric if you look closely at your rubric. But before you do that, I want you to spend a half hour, and you can pick all of these 3 things that will help you have a better finished product. So we did this in class today. They all relate to the letter C. The first one is clarity. I have 4 things there that you can do to make sure that your essay is more clear to a reader. The first one is purpose. Usually in an essay, you're going to put a thesis sentence. In an open letter, it's not mandatory, but your purpose should be clear. And unlike a lot of academic papers, it doesn't need to be at the end of the first paragraph. So strategically think, have I identified a purpose in my paper? Where did I put that purpose? And is it the best place for the purpose? The second thing under clarity is context information. You have to consider who your audience is and whether or not the context information that you have put into your letter is appropriate for that audience. For example, a lot of times students will use definitions of terms, and for a college professor, that almost seems silly. So go back to your open letter and read through some of the background resources or information that you've used in your open letter. And if your open letter is an administrator here at the school, you have to ask yourself, would they already know this information? If so, why in the world do you put it in there? Another thing to make your essay more clear is transitions. In middle school, you use them oftentimes at the beginning of body paragraphs, but the best transitions are internally within paragraphs, and they are more than just words. They oftentimes can be phrases that connect one sentence to the next one. These are the links that make a paragraph or an essay unified and so clear. So make sure you go back and add some more transitional phrases to your paper. And then finally, remember that people just don't really care about our opinions and for us to go on and on about opinions. A good rule of thumb is you shouldn't have more than one opinion per sentence opinion in a paragraph. So go back through your essay and get rid of all of those rambling opinion statements and add more specific content. So that's a way to make your paper more clear. The next one is to be more concise. In the assignment, I told you to have 1,000 words for this open letter. Now I'm going to tell you I'm not counting words. I want you to get rid of anything that is unnecessary and is just taking up space. That means as long as you're completing all of the elements of the rubric, length isn't going to be important to me. I'd rather you make every word count. So one of the ways you can do, I have 5 different things here. Get rid of all of the filler words that we use a lot of times when we speak, but should not be in your written text. So like really, very, actually, things like that. Other times we have long, cumbersome phrases that oftentimes one word will replace it and be a better choice of words, such as due to the fact. A better way to say it is just because, or in the event that. A better way to say it is just if. The next one, get rid of all of your vague pronouns, general nouns, be more specific with your diction, your language, use be verb minimally, and finally, get rid of dull sentences that start with it is, there are, this is, here are, things like that. So that's conciseness. So don't worry about length now. Make everything count and matter. The final thing is correctness. We talked about some elements of mechanics today. I just put a few of them here, of what to capitalize, what not, when to say who versus whom. I also included in your resources a passage that E.B. White, who's the author of Charlotte's Web, he wrote an essay entitled Ring of Fire. E.B. White is known as one of the greatest essayists of all time, and I'd like you to go back to or access that source in your Canvas and read the first paragraph of it. And you'll find that the punctuation enables us to grasp context so much better. And so why am I telling you this? Your punctuation should be invisible to us as far as glaring mistakes. They should enable us to concentrate on content. I also mentioned to the students today that punctuation was never invented until the printing press came along, because as we speak, our pauses become the punctuation. But in text, the marks enable a reader to navigate through words with ease and focus on content instead of glaring errors. So fix all those. I challenged everyone to spend about 30 more minutes before midnight tonight. Remember, that's the deadline to upload your open letter and Turnitin, and also put it on your 2010 website. Great quote to read it on your own. A few other things before you upload your paper. Make sure your format's correct. So here's some quick reminders. Make sure you have a works cited page. You only need 1 as a minimum of works cited entries. Make sure the format is correctly for even 1. If you have more than 1 source, make sure those entries are in alphabetical order. All right, so this source is some other topics I just kind of talked to the students about. If you feel like your topic is just not, you're not really excited about. So there are other things that are in the news a lot right now, and I went through a list of several of them. Finally, the last thing we're going to do today is learn about one aspect of your English 2010 ePortfolio, the notebook. I want you to think of the notebook as a place for you to explore and wonder, and it's more than just a journal, though. It's a place to react and experiment with writing. So I want you to look at the English notebook link at the top of the page. You can also access a few of these students' e-portfolios and look at their writing notebooks for examples, and then begin your first notebook assignment, which will be in Canvas. So good luck. Thank you.